I have a very strong desire to have discourse, especially with white people, about exploring their fragility, because if we don't explore it or explore our privilege or own our privilege, then we can't really see the world and the struggles that other people have had that don't have the privilege of being white.
These interview sessions were created so we could sit down with the brilliant female filmmakers of the Lois Film Festival this year that have been selected and nominated. And I'm very, very excited to talk to these two women right here about their film, White Female. Welcome, Sarah and Senyah.
Hello. Thank you for
Hello.
having us.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. I want to tell everyone that Gabby, the president, and I, we were at Valkyrie Film Festival when we saw this piece originally, and both her and I were so moved by it. We pretty much were like, they have to submit. They have to submit. We got to show it at our festival because it's such an important message behind it. Um, I'm going to let you all, I'll pass the torch and let you talk about it. And then I'll say how it made, resonated for me. Go right ahead. Tell the audience what it's about.
Go for it. It's just like when we write. You got the skeleton, I'll flesh it out.
Yeah, well, White Female is a really interesting project that I embarked on with Senyah, and it started with a phone conversation where she was just telling me about an experience she had had with a childhood friend. And as she was telling me all this, I was listening to it, and I think it was like after she had gotten through a big part of the story, I was like, this is a short film. Because it really illustrated the pain and the hurt that she's felt from white people, especially her white childhood friend, and the struggle she had to explain to her childhood friend what was hurting her. And so we decided we were going to make a short film, and that's what we did. And White Female is a bit of a I kind of like to, it's like a bait and switch. Like people see white female and they're like, oh, white female, it's about a white female. When actually you will not see a white female on the screen. You will only hear her voice because she is not the most important person in this film. Really the
I think
most
that's genius, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And we did also keep, Senyah was not only my co-writer, and when we work together, sometimes I kind of build the skeleton of the film, and then she fleshes it out until we can't really tell where the other person is, which I think is really unique. And I love working with her that way. But in the beginning, visually, I really like the idea that we saw somebody's apartment. There was dirty dishes. Okay, we understand that. And oh, this person's taking a shower, and now we're seeing her living room. And then she walks in, and bam, she's not a white woman. It's the most important person in the story, which is Senyah Imani. So that was a really exciting thing. I think that makes the film even more important.
When you have your audiences watch it, what are you both hoping that obviously it's a conversation piece? What are you hoping that they take away from it?
It's one of those things, like it comes back to, for me, White Fragility. And
Yeah.
when I read Robin's book, White Fragility, it was very eye-opening for me, especially as I was a Chicago public school teacher for many, 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 many years. And I think that I recognized myself. I recognized my colleagues in that book. And for me, I have a very strong desire to have discourse, especially with white people, about exploring their fragility, because if we don't explore it or explore our privilege or own our privilege, then we can't really see the world and the struggles that other people have had that don't have the privilege of being white. I mean,
Yeah.
white is a privilege. And there are many privileges in the world, but I think especially with being white, a lot of times I have heard from people, well, I'm not privileged. I've had to work this hard, or I've had to do this, or my parents didn't have money, or I wasn't rich. But I also hear some of my white friends say stuff like, oh, yeah, like they don't even recognize it. Like, Oh yeah, I can get in anywhere. I just walk behind a person and nobody questions me. Because it's me. No, what you're really saying is they don't question me because I have white skin, but nobody has pointed that out to you. If you were a black person, like, if Senyah or one of our male friends especially was trying to follow somebody in, they would be looked at like, whoa, who's this guy? Who are you? And I think especially in America, Black people, they have to live with it every day
Mm,
of their lives. And yet we're like,
mhm.
"Oh, I'm not privileged. I don't have a lot of money. I'm not rich." I'm not talking about that. It's about the visuals.
For me personally, what I want audiences to get from it, and we have to, audience, that's not a monolith, right? It's
Mm,
composed of people. So what I have noticed and expected is generally when it's Black audiences or other people of color, there is a sense of vindication. There is a sense of my story has been told. There is a sense of, yes, I go through this internal gymnastic, acrobatic madness in my head too. I like how you went out there and showed it. Um, and that's very powerful, and meaningful to me to have people come up to me and be like, girl, yes. We don't have to say much to express the empathy and the satisfaction in having the story tell. Just girl, yes. That's enough.
right.
With white audiences, if it's white people of goodwill, um I do enjoy when they have epiphanies, like you said you did, like it when it moves them, when
Yeah.
they see something that resonates with something they've done, their behavior, whatever, and that they care enough about how it impacts other people to want to change it. I really appreciate that because allyship is very important. And
Yes.
non-performative allyship is the most important. So, if it does, as if you will, change hearts and minds, for the people that resemble the behaviors that are being portrayed, then I absolutely appreciate that. That wasn't my intent in creating it. That was Sarah's intent, and it's a good thing that it's going, it's a good thing that it is serving multiple purposes.
Oh my gosh, it's so needed right now, in this volatile circus, I'm gonna say, of a world that we're going through right now. And I just think it's such an important film. I think you made such a gem because you don't see too many of these films out there that's really a conversation piece. I know all art is a conversation piece, but this one is exceptionally special. What was there like ever something that did this truly happen to you, Senyah, with a dear friend of yours that inspired you to write this?
Yeah, well, yes, but it's also absolutely a universal story for people who say something. It
Mm,
happens a lot. More oftentimes, people won't say something to the people who are kind of tap dancing on their sensibilities in that way. They just won't say something so it won't be addressed, and then it's not an issue for the person who's tap dancing on their sensibilities in that way.
yeah, yep.
It's definitely an issue for the person who is like the receiver of those kind of behaviors. But yeah, so it's not an uncommon story.
I want to mention to everyone that Senyah was nominated for Best Actress at our film festival.
Thank you
I
so
do
much.
have
That
a
was really
question for
exciting.
you. Yes, oh my God, you were phenomenal. Now my question was, were you playing every single Black woman in the film in Community, or were you playing different ages or stages of your life as a Black woman?
Um, so they were different. I wouldn't say stages. They were different. I don't want to say personalities. They were different
Cats.
aspects.
Oh yeah.
They were different aspects of an interior. They were they were different actors, in an interior dialogue. right? So you know how cartoons will depict like you've got the angel on your shoulder and the devil on your
Yes.
shoulder. Or
Yeah.
in real life, you've got the person who's like, I want to eat that cake. And there's a person like, no, no, you just want to eat that cake.
Yeah.
You have these, we contain multitudes, right? And you have these conflicting dialogues all the time. Do that thing. I don't want to do that thing, but that make, so it wasn't binary here. It wasn't like yes, no. It was showing different characters inside one person that are kind of conflicting and struggling when they are confronted with this exterior kind of stimuli, this behavior. And it's like, oh, but I love them. Oh, I ain't taking that bullshit. Well, if you think about it like this, she really doesn't know. Is that, that's just, they were interior characters. And so I wouldn't say stages of my life or other people's lives who go through this. And please let me be clear, this is not a unique situation. And there are people who look like me who go through this daily, daily.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have the privilege of being a freelancer and I'm able to make my living in spaces that I choose. Usually that is with people who affirm me that it's artistic environments that I'm comfortable in and we can be creative. But there are a lot of people who have to make money
Mhm.
and they have to do it at a job and they have to do it at a job with people who are hostile to them, people
Yep.
who don't believe as they do, love as they do, look like they do, have the same life experiences, people who don't want them there, but some law mandated that they allow them in, people who now are able to kind of roll back those provisions that were made to have them there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
those people are going through this all the time. It's like, but should I cuss him out? But it's my boss. I need my job. But what? Oh, she
Mhm.
said that it was slick. Oh, well, you know what? Let me just, it's a
Yeah.
lot that goes on
I'm
all
sure
the
you deal
time.
with it all the time too, still in the film industry. I mean, I feel like women in general are dealing with a lot, but being a woman of color, do you feel like you're still dealing with a lot like of that negativity or judgment before anybody truly gets to know you?
The funny thing is that so I am an actress and I am a filmmaker, but that's not the only way that I artistically express. And the majority of the films that I am involved with are independent films, and a lot of them are with Black filmmakers. So it's a
Mm.
Black set, it's Black people, and I'm not getting that same kind of issue. I have to deal with kind of internal issues of um, oppressor beliefs and kind of situations that we have to deal with internally. But what you're speaking of is not something I personally encounter a lot because I'm not on a lot of big sets, white sets. I'm not.
How long have you both known each other?
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 25, like 6 years. I auditioned for something that she wrote and produced years ago, and it was actually I love this. It
I
was no, I get this. It was a character written for a white woman,
It was.
but she was new to the game, and she didn't know that in casting, that's the one place where you can say, I want a Black woman or I want a white woman, tall, blue, So she didn't know she could say what she wanted. So she just had everyone audition. And when I remember reading the script, I'm like, but I auditioned. I didn't get the part, thankfully,
No.
but she liked me and she called me back for something else. And so,
But why did I
yeah.
like you? I liked you because of the dialogue we had about your character. Like she came so professional, and we really had this like working relationship that felt like like I would give her a direction and then she would kind of question it and then we would move in a different way and then she would do it. I felt like working with her was like creating something together.
Very
And
collaborative. Yeah.
yeah, and I
Hmm.
knew when I called her, like a part of me like wanted her to get the part, but then this other part was like, that doesn't even make sense with what you wrote, dummy. So when I called her, I think I was really honest with
Yeah,
you.
she was honest.
And I realized after that, okay, if I ever write something like this again and I'm doing open auditions, I can be clear. There's certain times where it doesn't matter who plays it. You're looking for the right fit. But on this,
Yeah.
it definitely needed to be a white woman. So, but I remember telling her, I am going to work with you. And since then,
She did.
we keep working together. So I do have my own production company, Chi-Town Sugar Films, and I've done about a dozen films, and then Senyah has been in at least four of them. Two of them as my leads. And then we always have ideas and we're working together on multiple things. We've thought about doing another white female. And I don't even know if it would be white female, but in the very beginning, I said, I felt like this was a love letter to white people. And she's always like, what do you mean a love letter? And then I had to adapt that and be like, okay, it's more like tough love for white people. Like,
Yes.
hey, people, look at
Yeah.
yourself and look at the harm you're doing without trying. And if somebody does call you out on it, have an open heart and hear it like you experienced, to where you can question yourself and reflect on it. And that's my tough love. So we've had some ideas about how to do it again. Would it be her character? Would it be her doing a different scenario? Or how we can continue to target this and give voice to people that often don't have this voice in, like you said, their professional lives or whatnot.
Yeah, because really, I mean, that's a situation of a personal, like an interpersonal relationship with two very good friends. This could
Mhm.
be placed in an academic setting in education. It could
Mhm.
be placed in a healthcare set, like it could be placed in any setting in
Anywhere.
America, and it could still work. So, yeah.
How did you like mentally prepare for so many different roles for the film? Because for everyone watching, Senyah, the reason why Senyah was nominated for acting is because she plays like multiple characters in this film. And I'm just curious to know, well, first of all, how long have you been acting?
Are you asking me my age, Katie? No, I'm kidding.
No.
This entire century and some change. We'll say that.
You are so good. And I was just curious, like what your prep work was for that. Was that mentally exhausting for you? Are you someone that writes down your character? Like for me, I write down my character bios
Hmm.
before I go to set. I know every actor has a different prep work, so
Yeah, well, I will say I've had harder characters to play. We did another film after White Female called Crimson, and that was much I had much harder time getting into the emotions with those characters because I kind of got lost. This with White Female, well, first of all, I wrote a lot of the dialogue. Me and Sarah wrote it together, so the prep was done. I knew what was being
Mhm.
said and what the emotions were. I liked the costuming process that helped with each character, believe it or not. Um, yeah. Um, and my favorite character that I love to hate was was Naive. That's what we titled the character. She's the one with the pigtails. And
oh
I
yes. Yeah.
yeah, I love to hate her. But that costume choice was all Sarah. And at first I was just like, I don't like it. But I grew to love it. It made a lot of sense. And I will never forget there's this one moment where that character was difficult for me because I did not like that character. But there was this moment when Sarah, and she's a phenomenal director, like she really knows how to soothe her actors into getting what she needs. And I'm sitting here kind of being obstinate. And she's like, it's okay to love her. Um, it
Mhm.
was very simple, but it was profound. And it changed me, and I was able to get through after that. So, to answer your question, a lot of it was I think the costume choices really helped. And then
Yeah, they usually do.
yeah, and then obviously helping write it helped, and then like what I couldn't get over, those humps I couldn't get over, she soothed me through.
I have a question for you. When I recall our conversation that we had, and I think it was like a Saturday or Sunday
Is this me?
morning.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it's actually for you.
Oh Lord.
I felt like when I was listening to her talk that I was hearing those voices. And I think that's what makes it so authentic, is that when she was telling the story, there was such pain with this, but this was my oldest friend, and how could she do this to me? And I love her. Like, I heard some of those voices, which to me was so, I kind of had that, wow, if I could show these mental contortions that she's going through just,
Mm.
and then trying to also protect somebody who's been in her life for so long. And it just felt like, oh, such painful gymnastics I heard in your voice. And I think that's where I kind of had that idea. If we could show those personalities, do you feel all three of those women, the characters, can you remember them being in the conversation? That naive, and can you remember them pragmatic when you were telling me that story? I know I'm going way back.
I mean, I'll blanketly say yes, there are, I mean, it's always a negotiation.
Yeah.
It's always a negotiation because if it were
And we're all
just
those people.
yeah,
Yeah.
if it were just clear cut and those voices weren't there, what Sarah did was because she's not me, she's an outsider listening to me, she was able to articulate the different personalities. Whereas I and many people like me, we just live them. They inhabit us. We
Mhm.
either wrangle them in or we don't. We either, we either smother their voice or we don't. Sometimes we let it out a little and but she was able to articulate them. And that's one of the ways that we work well together. She will build a frame. She will pull out the pieces that were necessary, and then I'll come in and I'll just like seal them up with the dialogue that needs to be had. And but yeah,
It's nice to have that relationship and that trust
it is.
um to collaborate because you need it, especially with something so vulnerable at times. There was a quote from the movie too that I wrote down because I really just sat and I resonated with it, and I really wanted to know what specifically made you end the film with this. And it said, "Our safe zone was never safe for me." And I was wondering if you might be able to elaborate for anyone watching why you had the film end with that.
Absolutely, because that is that was the crux of the whole issue. They were okay as long as Shell Bell was okay. It wasn't about Leanna being okay. Shell Bell just assumed we're okay. We're all okay. Leanna wasn't okay, but she knew that Shell Bell, well, she didn't know. She had a feeling all her life that Shell Bell couldn't be really confronted with how she appeared. So she didn't confront her, but the time she did confront her, she kind of broke, right?
Right.
So, um, go.
Shell Bell's the white woman,
Yep.
and Leanna was her main character. I remember that last line. It took us a while to
It
nail
did.
it.
It did.
And so it took us a while. So I feel like sometimes when I write, I kind of see it, but like I just throw it up. And then
Mm.
she makes it better and cleans it up and adds stuff that just it's adds to the sauce. But with that line, I remember
When we
us.
found it, we both, it was like ding. It
Yes,
was like a tuning fork and it found the right pitch. It
because
was
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
it had to be a drop the mic moment.
Yeah,
It had
yeah.
to sum up
Oh, it
all
was.
pain. But I remember too when we were shooting it that it was a problem, like not a problem, but it was something that we had to really kind of keep getting.
Mm.
Like I felt like, and then the time when we finally nailed it and she said it with that right, just the way she said it, the exhaustion, but realizing it was a moment where I got goosebumps right now thinking about it. It was
Yeah,
just that moment where I felt like you and I both knew
yeah,
that was it, similar to when we struggled with writing it.
yeah.
And yeah, and that's part of the struggle, right? Like you protected her for so long by on your tiptoes, walking on eggs to keep it safe for her. And that's the problem is that how many people of color have to juggle us and make sure that they don't upset us because we have so much privilege in their lives that it's just exhausting. And I think that's something that we need to realize as white people that you know, if I just burst out crying because somebody hurt my feelings because they said I might be racist, well, instead of getting upset about that and feeling like it's not safe anymore, think, whoa, this person cares enough to call me out on something. Maybe I need to
Yes.
open my heart and listen to it. And the more
Yes.
that I do that, because I've had my own moments of white fragility where somebody has said something to me and I'm just kind of like, I can feel like my cheeks get red. And then all of a sudden I'm like, stop. This is a good moment. This person cared enough about me to be like, no, honey, get back, you know, and then it's like, oh shit, yes, thank you. And then the more you do that, the easier it gets. It really does. And then you want to do that for other white folks because it's not up to Senyah or any of my other black friends to keep me in line. It's up to me to kind of reflect on myself.
Yes. That's
Right.
what really hit for me because it brought me back to my dear friend that I spoke about. And now I see things in a different way that you know, I just it really hit for me. And
Mhm.
I appreciate both of you making such a beautiful piece of art because I probably wouldn't have seen that moment for what it was if I didn't see your film.
Wow.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Truly. Wow, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today and having this maybe difficult conversation. And hopefully, people that watch this, they'll sit with their thoughts and, think back to moments like maybe like me, and their perspectives will change. Would you be able to let everyone know where they can follow you and what's next for the film?
Yeah. So I have an Instagram, Chi-Town Sugar Films. It's SHY, because it just makes more sense to me instead of CHI. So it's SHY Town, Chi-Town Sugar Films. And then I also have a website, chi-townsugar.com. And yeah, just you can find us there.
Yep.
We have several things that we're working on. Like I said, we're wrapping up a feature film that I've been working on producing, but we also have a lot of social justice stuff that it's just deciding what's next.
Hmm.
I wish we had
Yeah.
more time and obviously money to
Ah,
really
yeah.
yeah, but we want to keep the discussion going. So we appreciate you giving this opportunity to screen our film, and I hope people like it. If anybody wants to talk, like reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I love you so much and I wish you nothing but the best and good luck with your future endeavors. And
Yes.
I'm
So
gonna give you an air hug, but
we
Oh,
I can't wait
received
to see you
it.
guys
Thank
again.
you. All right.
Seriously. Thank you
yes.
Thanks.
so, so much.